Municipal Elections Act 1996. Rose Catarini, the City Clerk, City of Hamilton, declares the following candidates elected as a result of the municipal election held October 27, 2014. Trustee, Ward 1 and 2, Christine Bingham. Trustee, Ward 3, Larry Thomas Pattison Jr. Ward 4, Trustee, Ray E. Mulholland. Ward 5, Trustee, Todd White. Ward 6, Trustee, Kathy Archer. Ward 7, Trustee, Don Danko. Ward 8, Trustee, Wes Hicks. Ward 9 and 10, Trustee, Jeff Beattie. Ward 11 and 12, Trustee, Alex Johnstone. Ward 13 and 14, Trustee, Greg Van Geffen. And Ward 15, Trustee, Penny Deeth. And I'd like if we'd all would stand for O Canada. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all thy sons command, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free, from far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. May I have a mover and a seconder for the agenda? I'm sorry, forgive me for a minute. I just jumped ahead of the schedule and I see Mark Zaga standing up, so we will begin our meeting with the oath of allegiance for our new trustees.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Trustees, incumbents, I am Mark Joseph Zaga, a notary, authorized to administer your oath or affirmation under Section 209 of the Education Act. As a person elected as a trustee to the Hamilton Wentworth District School Board, you are required to make and subscribe to the declaration which I have provided to you on or before the first meeting of the trustees that you attend. As newly elected trustees, do you wish to make your declaration to me as a person authorized to administer an oath or affirmation?
All together?
Yes.
I am not disqualified under any act from the member of the Hamilton School Board. I truly, faithfully, and impartially, and to the best of my ability, execute the office of a board member, and that I vow not to execute any payment or reward or promise thereof, with the exercise of any impartiality or malversation or other unjurisdiction of said office, and I will not disclose any as required by and in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act.
I affirm the declaration from all trustees was declared before me in the City of Hamilton in the Province of Ontario on this, the first day of December 2014. In addition, as newly elected trustees, do you wish to swear or affirm your oath of allegiance before me?
I, Alex Johnstone, do affirm that I will be faithful and bear true duties to the Majesty. Second.
I confirm all the newly elected trustees have affirmed his or her oath of allegiance before me at Hamilton in the Province of Ontario on this, the first day of December 2014. Therefore, I hereby and will sign and notarize a notarial certificate of declaration and oath, which will be filed with the Secretary of the Board to comply with the requirements of the Education Act. Thank you.
At this time, we will begin the election for the chair of the board. Sorry, I jumped ahead of the part that I missed the last time. Let us have a mover and a seconder for the agenda, please. Mover, Trustee Wes Hicks, seconded by Trustee Van Geffen. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. And now we will move to the election of the chair of the board. In the event of multiple nominations, can I have a motion appointing Heather Miller and Jackie Penman as scrutineers for this process? So can I have a mover for that? Thank you, Trustee Beatty. A seconder, Trustee Danko. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. And so now I would like to call for nominations for the position of chair. Trustee Beatty. I'd like to nominate Trustee White for the position of chair. Thank you. And just as a comment, there is no need for seconders in terms of the nomination process. Any other nominations for the position of chair? Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? Are there any other nominations for the position of chair? Nominations be closed. Seeing that no other nominations have come forward, Trustee Hicks has moved that we close nominations. May I have a seconder for that? Trustee Pattison. It is moved by Trustee Hicks, seconded by Trustee Pattison, that nominations be closed. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Okay, thank you. To the motion where Trustee Todd White has been nominated as chair of the board, all those in favor? That is carried unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and that concludes your duties for the evening, John. Great job. I will try also to be quite as organized, and I promise for the rest of this term we will not read anything in that length together as one. That was quite the event. That's our first challenge. We're on to bigger business now. But just briefly before we move on to nominations for vice chair in our agenda, I just want to take a quick opportunity to say thank you to all of the trustees around the table. It's a true honor to be selected to be chair of this board. It certainly is a very important position, and we know as we've watched this past outgoing board that we do make many very important decisions at this board level that have affected a lot of students, community staff, community partners across the city. I also want to say thanks to my nominator, Trustee Beatty from the Stony Creek area. But as chair, I do want to say that I will endeavor to keep and maintain a very equitable and fair boardroom and ensure that all trustees enter the boardroom with all of the information so we have a level playing field. I'll make sure that our voices are clear and that we have a good, equitable debate and that we are productive in our decision making. So we definitely have our work cut out for us, but for meeting with trustees, I can say quite confidently that we are ready to hit the ground running. So it's a pleasure to represent you, and I will do everything I can to, above all, always commit that students come first, and from there to represent the board accurately and with the respect that it deserves. So I will have some further comments more in terms of the board at the chair's report, but I just wanted to take that quick moment. But also, before we go on to the nominations of the vice chair, I just want to recognize a couple of dignitaries that I saw walk in. I do see Mayor-elect, Mayor, is it a official yet? Almost.
It's official.
Mayor, it is, there we go. Mayor Eisenberger, as he joins us this evening. Not far behind him in the Jeff Beatty cheering section, Councillor Johnson from the Winona area. Welcome to the boardroom. Thank you. So I'm now going to try to follow this challenging script to call for nominations of... Oh, and also, of course, we have Pat Daly. See, I didn't mention Pat, the chair of our Catholic board, mainly because you're on the agenda already, but we're getting to you. But welcome to the board. It's always great to see you. Okay, so I am now calling for nominations for the position of vice chair. Any nominations? Trustee Danko.
I would like to nominate Alex Johnston for the position of vice chair.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Trustee Pattison.
I'd like to elect Christine Bingham as vice chair.
Thank you. Any further nominations? Further nominations? One more time. I'm done. That's enough nominations. All right, seeing no further nominations, can I have a motion to close nominations? Trustee Beatty, seconder, Trustee Deeth. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. So now, as the chair, I will invite the candidates to speak in reverse order, and you may speak up to 5 minutes. So first I'll call on Trustee Bingham to deliver 5 minutes worth of remarks.
I probably won't have 5 minutes worth of remarks, but I've been sitting as vice chair, and I have sat as president of board of director. I have sat as the chair of councils, and it would be an honor for me to be sitting as a co-chair. I would learn an awful lot faster sitting as the co-chair than just sitting here. I do believe that we are a very strong group that can help each other through with everywhere we turn with what we are doing, and with the many committees that we will be sitting on as well. As co-chair, I feel I can also help to direct in a great different point of view from what we've seen. We've got a whole bunch of new people around the table as well. Therefore, we can bring brand new ideas as well to what the board could use at this point. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I now call on Trustee Johnstone to deliver up to 5 minutes of remarks.
Thank you. Fellow trustees, I want to first welcome all of you to the board table. A wonderful team of trustees has been elected, and I look forward to working with you to create dynamic learning environments that are engaging, inspiring, and that foster student success. In the coming year, we will develop the board's strategic direction, hire a new director, and enter negotiations with our employee groups. These tasks are significant, and it is important that we work together as a team of trustees. That is why tonight I ask you for your support in seeking the position of vice chair. I became a trustee because I passionately believe in public education and see that it is the best way to level the playing field and give all children opportunities to succeed. I know this from firsthand experience. I was a special needs student who had the benefit of great teachers and support staff. This made a profound difference in my life. It taught me firsthand that with the right educational supports, we have the power to change a child's trajectory. My life's path has focused on working with children. I have a master's degree in social work, and my bachelor's degree specialized in child welfare and child development. While completing my education, I worked in a high-needs school as a child and family support worker. All of this invaluable experience has given me a greater understanding of the struggles, achievements, and potential of our students. I believe my commitment and experience will serve the board and community well if I am elected your vice chair. Over the last 4 years, I've sat on and chaired a wide variety of committees, including governance, HR, policy, CXL, and rural schools. I'm currently the chair of governance, and previously I chaired HR for 2 years. In addition to my local responsibilities, I've served as OPSPA director and regional representative on the OPSPA policy work team for the past 3 years. This past spring, I was elected by our peers to serve as a regional vice chair. In the community, I am also a member of the Hamilton Roundtable for Poverty Reduction Shifting Attitudes work group. My contributions have focused on equality with a specific attention to making language and processes more inclusive and outcomes more equitable. I believe that the role of vice chair needs to be understood as it relates to supporting the chair of the board, to facilitate fair and focused discussions, arrive at a collective opinion, and to reach corporate decisions. When chairing standing committee, the vice chair needs to set the tone and the climate of meetings by being fair and impartial. As we move forward with our strategic directions and program strategy, it is important to have a vice chair who will advance our committee work so that student needs are being met in a timely manner. As I said at the onset, I very much look forward to working with you as a team for the betterment of our community. I have no doubt that our work will distinguish us as global leaders in public education. And it is in that spirit that I will work with you on behalf as vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Johnstone. Now I will ask each candidate if they would like to select another trustee as a scrutineer once we collect the ballot. Trustee Johnson, would you like to select a scrutineer? Trustee Bingham? Don? Thank you. Trustee Bingham? Would you like to select a scrutineer to review the ballots?
Very good.
Trustee Pattison, thank you very much. So at this point, Heather Miller will distribute the ballots. You will see all of the trustees' names mentioned, along with a box on the left-hand side. Please only select one of the trustees, and your choices as such are Christine Bingham and Alex Johnstone. So please only vote once, and Heather will be around to collect the ballots in the magic box. We're getting it. So if we could please have Dawn as well as Larry to accompany Heather Miller, as well as if we've Jackie Penman to the side committee room. Any one of us could just open our mouth. Thank you very much. I am pleased to congratulate the new Vice Chair of the Board, Trustee Johnstone.
Just to my fellow trustees, thank you very much for this opportunity, to Christine, and also to my nominator, Don Dango. I covered everything in the speech, but I do very much looking forward to working with you and to supporting the chair, and for the portion of standing committee, certainly to chairing the meetings in fair and equitable manners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Johnstone, and congratulations once again. We are now moving to item number 7 on our agenda, which is the appointment to board mandated committees. What we are going to do at this point is we're going to work down the list, and I'll look to trustees just for a show of hands. If necessary, there's more than enough interest for a position, we will go to a ballot. If necessary, if not, we'll just simply gather the names, and I'll look for a motion after each agenda item. So for instance, we'll do all of item 7, the appointed board mandated committees all at once. So we'll begin at the top, and I'm going to look to Heather for assistance here. Yep. Thank you. So the first committee we see, 7A, is our standing committee, which all trustees are appointed to. The second is our suspension, appeals, and expulsion hearings. Once again, this includes all trustees. We do look for a preference whether a trustee prefers afternoon or the evening session. The afternoon runs from 4 to 6 p.m. The evening session runs from 6 to 8 p.m. We can also indicate both. So looking at Officer Miller, are we doing a recording now for this position? Okay, so if we could go around the table, we'll start with Trustee Deep, and if you could just simply indicate which of those 2 times, if not both, that you prefer.
4 to 6 p.m.
4 to 6 p.m., thank you. By the way, this is on Wednesdays, and it usually occurs Tuesdays or Wednesdays, traditionally Wednesdays, but we're being flexible this term. And it is twice a month. So it will be one or the other, and you can probably expect 2 expulsion hearings in the fall, and probably about 3 between January and June. So we'll keep going along the line with Trustee Hicks.
4 to 6.
Trustee Beatty. Trustee Mulholland.
I'm at the call of Officer Miller.
Trustee Johnstone.
6 to 8.
Trustee Bingham.
6 to 8.
Trustee Van Geffen.
4 to 6, please.
Trustee Danko.
6 to 8.
Trustee Patterson. 6 to 8. And Trustee Archer.
Both.
And you can put me down for both. Thank you. We're moving down the list. We are on item C, which is our audit committee. And I'll just provide a brief description for those that are not familiar with the audit committee. It is an internal committee mandated by the Ministry of Education to review our internal practices. It could be financial, it could be other practices that we have within departments. A couple examples of recent audits is we just finished one on school-generated funds. We're currently in the works with our maintenance and repairs. And another item coming up next would be our accommodation review process. So we look at a lot of our practices, and then that being said, the committee also reviews our external financial statements, so there is some external auditing as well. So that's the audit committee. We do have room for 3 trustees. We do usually meet 4 times per year, usually on a Thursday afternoon, but as we know, we wait for the committee membership, and some of these dates and times are negotiable, but we've just indicated on the sheet what our traditional time slots have been. So I'm looking for a show of hands for those interested in the audit committee. Okay, so that's Trustee trustee Beatty, Johnstone, White, Van Geffen, and Danko. Okay, so we are looking at this point then to a ballot. So what I would do as Heather gets that ready, trustee Hicks.
Some of these committees, the chair of the board is automatically on these committees, so when you explain that, you might want to make sure that they understand that. So if you sit on and that's your role, then you wouldn't be involved in the vote.
Yeah, so I'll explain that when that's applicable. In this case, audit committee is a bit odd because it doesn't function as the rest of our committees. It's industry mandated and runs from September through August instead of our usual December through November. I'm currently chair of audit committee. I was appointed in September, so if appointed as a member to the committee, I would return as chair for the remainder of the year. If not, then there would be 3 new trustees on the committee, and then the committee would have to appoint a new chair. So but right now we are looking for 3 trustees. It could include me as the chair of the committee and chair of the board, or it could not, technically speaking. So at this point, we do have 5 interesting candidates, so we would go to a ballot. So what I will do is ask, I guess in reverse order, seeing as that's a tradition, we'll start with trustee Patterson and work this way across the board table. For just any comments of why you're interested in the audit committee, the remarks don't have to be extensive, but just if you want to share interest, if at all. Did I have trustee Patterson? No, sorry, I meant Geffen followed by Dane. My apologies. I'm looking at you, Larry, I don't know why, I think I should be on it. Trustee Danko.
The reason I'm interested in audit committee is because of my extensive experience with the ARC process. I have already submitted recommendations to change and improve the process, and I think that would be instrumental in this year, considering that's one of the things that will be audited.
Thank you. Trustee Van Geffen.
Hi, I've actually composed something a little longer than that. I've spent some time talking today with Karen Churchler about the audit committee, and both Karen and Jessica, my board predecessors, sat on this committee, and I think I have offer something of value to this board sitting on the audit committee. Some of you may know my background is in business. I graduated from the University of Guelph in agriculture business, began my own business from scratch and spent many years building it up and making it successful. What I did to cultivate success in this business was finding the most effective way to do things and making those ways as efficient as possible. I enjoy the art of balancing budgets and working together as a team, striving to improve practices. I am thorough, objective, and deliberate. Being a part of the audit committee, I look forward to making recommendations, requesting updates, and following it through. Karen tells me that we are very fortunate to have Matt Gerard as our regional internal audit manager, and also to have Janet Allen from KPMG. With my experience, I believe I have the background, interpersonal, and people skills to communicate well between our internal and external auditors. My interest in this committee selection also includes finance and policy, so I believe that audit is a great complement to both, should I be fortunate enough to sit on these committees. On a side note, my father-in-law, who worked for Stelco in audit for many years, has given his completely biased recommendation for me on this committee. But in taking the time and sitting down and talking with him about his time in audit, it made me feel that I would be a good fit for this committee, and I ask that each of you respectfully consider me when you make your vote for the composition of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. I'll just add a couple of quick comments. It was a pleasure this past term to work with Trustee Turkstra as well as Trustee Brennan on the audit committee, knowing that the previous composition of the committee included only trustees that were not planning to run for re-election. I was nominated, we'll call it that, onto the committee, but it actually has been quite eye-opening. It's a very effective committee. It's conducts very, very important work for the internal operations of our board. I currently chair the committee, and I hope to bring to the committee this coming year the continuity coming forward from the last term, the direction and the work plan to ensure that we are moving forward and on schedule, and to ensure that relates with our board agendas and plan. Johnson.
Thank you, and through the chair. When we look at audit committee, what's interesting about it is that it's not just finances, it's also about processes. And my background, I have a master's of social work, social policy, and I think that there's a number of different items that are going to be on the agenda of audit committee in the coming year. One which Trustee White has already highlighted, dealing with, of course, our accommodation reviews. Over the past term, I did sit on a number of accommodation reviews, and I've had the opportunity to hear from our communities and to get feedback, and I would like to have the opportunity to ensure that those voices are echoed as we go through the audit of our accommodation review process. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Beatty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have anything quite as long prepared as any of the other candidates, so I'll be brief. I share Trustee Van Geffen's background in agribusiness. As a small business owner, I'm constantly reviewing the way things are done. I've sat on other committees in our community and done the same, reviewing things to get things done better. And I think what we're doing here in general is all very good, and I'm just very interested in trying to find ways to make it all better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So at this point, I'd like to ask Heather to circulate the ballots. Once again, you do have the choice of 3. So just to be clear, you have to vote for 3. You cannot just simply choose one candidate. Choose 3 candidates. If not, we'll have to return and we'll have to get another ballot. So your candidate choices are Trustee White, Beatty, Johnston, Van Geffen, and lastly, Danko. Okay, and just one brief note before Heather counts the ballots with Jackie. I was advised by an anonymous text message that this is a 4-year term appointment according to the Education Act. I see Pat Bailey nodding, so I'm looking to you, Pat, for everything this evening. But it is a 4-year term, so before the ballots are counted, I just want to ensure there were no other trustees interested in the position. Seeing none, that's clear. We have the interest recorded, and the 3 successful candidates will have a 4-year term. If a trustee decides to leave the committee, that would therefore make a vacancy, and then we would select that position again. Okay, I'd like to congratulate the following three trustees who have been elected on a 4-year term for audit. Those are trustees Beattie, Van Geffen, and White. Congratulations. Moving down the list, item 7D, which is our Health and Safety Committee. I'm looking for one trustee to put their name forward. Usually they meet on Mondays, monthly, accompanied by Superintendent Rocco. And this is a committee that's mainly comprised of our union partners and bargaining units. And this is to discuss, as you would imagine, health and safety. So is there any trustee interested in the Health and Safety Committee? Trustee Johnstone, any other interest in health and safety? Thank you. So we have Trustee Johnstone. Next is 7E, which is our Parent Involvement Committee. And I'm looking to look to the audience because we have a unique opportunity to have Kevin, who is our chair of the Parent Involvement Committee, join us at the front. This is a community committee comprised of parents across the school board, but I'll leave it to you, Kevin, to introduce it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My privilege to come before you tonight to try and recruit trustees to come to our fabulous monthly meetings, preceded by dinner. We are mandated under the legislation of the Ministry of Education to both advise the director and to support school councils in both elementary and secondary schools in regards to parent involvement and to parental recognition. The cross-section of the committee is taken from not only various wards or all the wards of the endeavor, to have all the wards across the city represented, but also the community advisory committees have seats on our group, as well as 2 community representatives, including the YMCA Early Child Education Program and the Hamilton Women's Center. We also have representatives from the home and school, and a majority of our meetings are taken up with both education in terms of finding out what trends are taking place in education across the province and within the board, as well as reviewing and commenting on policy that is up for review within the board. We have about 38 members currently, and as well we are well supported by staff through Superintendent Stefanian's office and various other groups who come and help us along. It is a very active group, and we have been very fortunate for the past number of years to have Jeff Reynolds as our chairperson, and Jeff has stepped into a past chair role, and this is my first year serving as chairperson. So we welcome any of you to come and join us. We have been well served by Trustee White in the most recent past, as well as Trustee Bishop, and we are looking forward to seeing who might fill those shoes in this coming tenure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I could have said it better myself. I'm looking to the board. We're looking we can appoint up to 3 trustees to the Parent Involvement Committee. Traditionally, we've had probably at least 2. We're not mandated to appoint 3, but it is within the terms of reference. If there's the interest, it certainly allows it. So, can I see a show of hands for anyone interested in the Parent Involvement Committee? Trustee Heath, Trustee White. And that is it. Thank you very much. Kevin, those are your new trustee appointments. Thanks for joining us. Next, we have our Supervised Alternative Learning Committee, also known as SAL. This is a committee that meets, we have 1 or 2 committee meetings a year. One trustee is usually bi-weekly. Subcommittees are Monday afternoons. Our notes do say 3 trustees, but it also has been our tradition that this is not mandated in legislation or in terms of our own terms of reference, that we can add more if there is the interest, and if anything, could relieve the workload of those that may be on it. So if I could look for a show of hands for those interested in SAL. We have Penny Heath, Bingham, and Pattison. Any further interest in SAL? Seeing none, those are our 3 trustee representatives on SAL. Next, we are on G, which is our Special Education Advisory Committee. And I'm told, and I haven't seen her, Judy Colantino, are you here?
important mandated committees of the board. I'm a little biased, but it's the truth. We meet every last Wednesday of the month from 7 till 9 or whenever we finish the meeting, sometimes well after, but it's always well worthwhile. We discuss, and it is our mandate from the ministry to advise the board on any matters pertaining to special education. So that's program services and supports. And we have a very lively committee comprised of 12 members, made up of agency members in the community and parent support groups as well. It's a great committee, and I would welcome any of you and all of you to come to our meetings. If you're not on our committee, I would like you to come and visit and listen to what we discussed. And I certainly would be looking forward to having 2 members back on our committee.
Thank you very much, Judy. So I'm looking for a show of hands from trustees that are interested in SEAC. We have trustees Bingham, Pattison, and Archer. And we have on SEAC, and we did check this in advance, we have, according to legislation, we're able to appoint 1 trustee and an alternate. So traditionally we appoint 2 to SEAC. So SEAC, we have 3 interested members. We would have to go to a vote. So what I'll do is look in reverse order once again. We'll start with trustee Archer, and then follow with trustee Pattison and Bingham. So trustee Archer, if you'd like to say any words or a couple things of why you're interested in SEAC, we'd love to hear from you.
I've worked with special needs children for most of my life, and I run a kids club, which originally started for special needs children, so children had a place in Hamilton to be able to have activities with other children. I don't mind stepping down to avoid time for a vote if we need to do that. I don't mind visiting, attending the meetings once a month or rotating with the other trustees or whatever, working together.
Yeah, in terms of trustees, we are welcome at any committee, so if at any point you want to attend SEAC and you're not the rep, you're more than welcome to attend, but certainly your choice. Trustee Archer, if you want to put your name forward and go to a ballot, if not, you can withdraw. It's up to you.
I'll withdraw and then I can attend the meeting.
So in that case, what we are doing as a board is we're appointing trustee Bingham as well as trustee Pattison to SEAC with an unofficial strong recommendation that if either of you cannot attend, we have Kathy. Thank you very much. And lastly, in our mandated committee, we do have our student trustee mentor. So this is a position where 1 trustee on the board. Traditionally, it's been the vice chair, but we have changed it in the past. And this trustee would advise and work closely with our student trustees, as well as the selection process for our student trustees in the next school year. So I'm just looking to any interest among trustees for the student trustee mentor position. Trustee Johnstone, any other interest from trustees? Seeing none, thank you, Trustee Johnstone. We are at the end of item number 7. What I'm going to ask briefly, and Tess Teller, she's prepared, if she could just simply read the names for within item number 7, A through H, and then we'll all ask for a motion to appoint all the positions at once.
Sure. So for standing committee, all trustees, suspension, appeals, and expulsion hearings, all trustees. Audit committee, trustees B, Van Geffen, and White. Health and safety committee, trustee Johnstone. Parent involvement committee, trustees White and D. Supervised alternative learning committee, trustees D, Bingham, and Pattison. Special education advisory committee, trustees Bingham, Pattison, and student trustee mentor, trustee Johnstone.
Thank you very much. So I'm looking for a motion to appoint those names to the board mandated committees. Thank you, trustee Danko, seconded by trustee Archer. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving to item 8, which is appointments to trustee special committees. And what I will do is just briefly introduce all of these at once. And we've had some brief orientation and discussion with trustees around what these committees are. It's essentially our framework as a board for where most of the information channels through to our standing committee or board. So we have our Finance and Facilities Committee, Governance, Human Resources, Policy, and Program. So this is where we receive recommendations from staff, work closely. These are working committees, so there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of questions and discussion that occur. In each of these committees, we appoint up to 5 trustees. The minimum is 3 trustees. And once again, if you are not on a committee and at some point you wish to attend a meeting, you are more than encouraged to attend. You would be a non-voting member, but you can partake in the discussion, debate, dialogue as much as you would see fit. So if you're not on a committee, it doesn't mean that you're left out of the discussions. And in fact, you will continue to receive all of the packages and material for each of these committees so you can be apprised of the work that the committee is doing. And of course, you'll get the updates when you attend board. So I will go through one at a time and ask trustees for their interest. I am looking at 8A, which is our Finance and Facilities Committee. Can I see interest from trustees, please? We have trustees Hicks, Beattie, White, Van Geffen, and Danko. That is 5. Is there any other interest? Seeing no further interest, thank you. That is 5 trustees. Next is our Governance Committee. This is the committee where we, at least this year, moving forward, some of our bigger items would be appointing a permanent director as well as perhaps our strategic directions for our organization. We tend to do the higher level rules and order, for instance, that we follow here in the boardroom. I'm looking for interest among trustees, but just to mention, the chair and vice chair automatically have positions on this committee. So in addition to myself and trustee Johnstone, we are looking for 3 further trustees. Please raise your hand if you're interested. Trustee Archer, Deeth, and Danko. Perfect. Thank you very much. That is 5. Next, to our Human Resources Committee. Looking to trustees for a show of hands if you're interested in human resources. Trustee Deeth, Hicks, Beattie, Johnstone. Perfect. Thank you. Next, we have our Policy Committee. Please, can I see a show of hands for interest in policy? That is trustee Beattie, Johnstone, White, Bingham, Van Geffen, and Danko. That is 6 interested folks. We have room for 5. This will have to go to a ballot, so what I'll do is in reverse order again, so you know if I always go this way. I will ask trustee Danko for any brief comments on why you'd like to join the committee.
I'm interested in the policy committee as it, one, would provide...
Trustee Danko, you were so compelling that trustee Johnson has withdrawn. You're on the committee. So the names that we have are trustees Danko, Bingham, White, Beattie, and Deeth? No, who am I missing? Oh, Van Geffen. There you go, Greg. Can't see you. Okay, so if you got that, you're appointed to the committee. There you go. And lastly, we have our program committee, which is a newer committee that we created in spring of last year, and we're using the committee quite effectively to discuss any type of programming issues on a lot of our transitions. We look at our northern sites in particular, and west for that matter. So I'm looking for a show of hands for interest in the program committee. Trustees Deeth, White, Bingham, Pattison, and Archer. Thank you, that's 5. Is there any further interest? Seeing none, that is our program committee. So once again, I'll kindly ask Officer Miller to read the names of the 5 committees. Right? I can't say officer without somehow saluting, I don't know why. Officer?
Okay, Finance and Facilities is trustees Hicks, Beattie, White, Van Geffen, and Danko. Governance, trustees White, Johnstone, Archer, Deeth, and Danko. Human Resources, trustees Deeth, Hicks, Beattie, Johnstone. Policy is trustees Beattie, White, Bingham, Van Geffen, and Danko. And for program, it's trustees Deeth, White, Bingham, Pattison, and Archer.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to appoint those folks to those committees? Trustee Mahoney. It was 4 names for human resources. There is 1 space open. Trustee Mahal. So adding Trustee Mulholland to the 5th in position for human resources. Thank you, Trustee Mulholland. Great. So we're looking for a mover. Trustee Deeth, seconded by Trustee Beattie. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving to item number 9 on the back side of the agenda. We have appointments to HWDSB community advisory committees. These were committees that we revamped in the past year. Many of them have been long-standing, but we created new terms of reference for the community advisory committees. And we set out for each of them the possible appointment of up to 2 trustees to these committees. You would be a non-voting member, but you would function as a liaison between that committee and the Board of Trustees. So we can appoint 1 or 2 trustees as we see fit. So I'll go down the list. We have 9A, which is our First Nation, Métis, Inuit Community Advisory Committee. Do we have interest in the committee? Trustee Bingham and Trustee Patterson. Thank you very much. B, our French Immersion Advisory Committee. Can I see a show of hands? Trustee Beebe and White. Thank you very much. And lastly, our Rural Schools Committee. Trustees Archer, Van Geffen, Johnstone. Any further interest? Seeing none, we do have 3 folks for the committee. We only have 2 spots available. As a result, we would go to a ballot. So once again, we would hear from the 3 candidates and why you would like to be on the committee. So I'll start with Trustee Archer.
I'm not saying that. I'll do ballot. I just,
You can hit your mic in front of you.
Speak. Okay. I attended some of the rural schools as a child, and that's an interest of mine. Also as a school bus driver too, so I think I have some information, valuable information on the rural schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Van Geffen.
Today, in talking with Karen Terstra, who is part of the Rural Schools Committee, now we were opened up a dialogue on this. As many of you know, West Flamborough, one of the 2 wards that I represent, is an entirely rural ward, and I do think that my presence on this committee is necessary to represent my constituents, as I talked about on the audit. And my background is in agriculture. My farming background, grew up on a beef cash crop farm. Came back from Guelph, built a farm over 12 years. This has made me very passionate about rural issues. It makes me committed to represent myself represent this board on this committee. So I hope to keep that in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Johnson.
Thank you. So the areas that I represent, wards 11 and 12, they make up half the former Wentworth ward, which is largely rural. So those areas include Mount Hope, Tapley Town, Lambrook. The rural part's Lancaster. I think that I've sat on this committee for the past 4 years. I think that it's important for my voice to continue to be on this committee. As a large part of the area that I represent is rural, and similar to Trustee Van Geffen, I also have a rural upbringing, and I was a proud member of 4-H, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that. But I do hope to continue to serve on this committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So at this point, I'm going to ask Heather to circulate the ballot in 1 moment. And then I ask that you once again vote for 2. You're expected to vote for 2 individuals. Please do not vote for 1. And your choices are Trustees Archer, Van Geffen, and Johnston. Okay, thank you very much for your patience. I'd like to congratulate Trustees Johnstone and Van Geffen as our two reps on the Rural Advisory Committee. Congratulations. Thank you, Kathy. And in addition to that, once again, to remind trustees, the dates are posted, and once again, you're more than welcome to attend. And the two trustees that do represent us as our liaisons are also non-voting members. So once again, you're more than welcome to attend and share any insight that you may have, and also bring that insight back to the board of trustees. So I'm looking for, or shall turn to Heather to recap, and then I'll look for a motion for number 9.
First Nation Maintained Inuit Community Advisory Committee, trustees Bingham and Patterson. French Immersion Advisory Committee, trustees Deep and White. Rural Schools Committee, trustees Van Geffen and Johnstone.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Trustee Danko, thank you. Seconded by Trustee Johnstone. Thank you very much. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving to item number 10. You will see attached in your package item 10.1 through 10.4. And that outlines our Community Advisory Committee members from the community, that is. And these are on our new cycle, which is every December. We appoint our members, which align with our committee selection. So I will turn to Director Malloy, seeing as this is his report to advise us on the material. Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before trustees this evening are the names of those who are being put forward for the community advisory committees. The only addition that I'd like to draw to trustees' attention is on 10.3, that we were fortunate enough to have a rural parent representative come forward for the French Immersion Advisory Committee, Michael Kane, and then this report is complete and we would recommend approval from the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Mr. Director, may I just ask clarity, so on 10.3, we are adding Michael Kane as a rural rep? Thank you very much.
Correct.
Thank you. Looking for a motion then to appoint and accept the recommended action on the report 10-1, which says that the following members for the Community Advisory Committee be approved A through C. Do I have a motion? Trustee Johnstone, thank you. Seconded by Trustee Deep. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Moving to our final round of appointments, we have item number 11. 11A, we are now looking at our liaisons and representatives to associated agencies. So we will begin with 11A. This is the City School Board's Liaison Committee, and this is a committee that is undergoing some change in terms of its terms of reference. In the past, the committee has met rather irregularly, but with a recent motion from the Governance Committee and passed by board, we are looking to seek clarity on the terms of reference and once again engage with our city partners in moving forward with a clear direction. On this committee, there are 3 trustees. The chair is an automatic one, and so we are looking to the trustees for 2 more members. So I'd like to ask the trustees for a show of hands on those interested in the city board liaison committee. Trustee Hicks, Heath, Pattison. Thank you. So that is 3 trustees. We are looking for 2. So as a result, we'll be going to a ballot. Hopefully we have enough paper. We do. Thank you very much. So we'll go in reverse order with Trustee Pattison and then Trustee Heath followed by Hicks. Trustee Pattison.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I've been heavily involved in my committee for many years, and I have delegated at City Hall a number of times, including this past year when we had our first joint city council meeting in quite some time. So I'd like to continue that involvement with the community, and obviously, this community would be the entire city that we represent, but delegating at these meetings and getting together with our council, I think is very important, and I'd like to be a part of that and be able to bring that voice to this board. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Pattison. Trustee Heath.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In my existing role in Healthy Communities, Healthy Youth up in Flamborough, I've worked closely with our city councillor and our city on youth issues for many years. So I believe in the importance of that strong relationship and would welcome the opportunity to work closely with them.
Thank you. Trustee Hicks.
Thank you. Through the chair, I've been a member of this committee for the last 3 or 4 years. It's really important that the trustees make sure that members of this committee representing the board have some background, because we're way into the process of changing the guidelines. Very exciting times. There's a possibility that the Cotumans board will be joining us, we hope, on the committee. I've worked with Fred Essenberg before on the committee. I've talked to Fred. I know that he's really excited to try to mend some fences. As you've read in the paper over the years, the relationship between the board and the city has not been that great, but working with Councillor Whitehead in Ward 8, we've got along very, very well, and I've also talked to Councillor Whitehead, and he's looking forward to serving on this committee from the city's perspective. So I'm excited. I think that the changes will really enhance the relationship between the city and the board, and that certainly is needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Hicks. So Heather is going to distribute the ballots, and once again I ask that you select 2 candidates from Trustee Pattison, Heath, and Hicks. you very much. I'd like to congratulate trustees Hicks and Heath on your election to the City School Board Relations Liaison Committee, that is. And thank you, Trustee Patterson. So Trustee Hicks and Trustee Heath will be joining me on the committee. Moving down the list, the next item is 11B, is our Hamilton Wentworth Home and School Association. This is the liaison to the group. The executive represents all of the home and school associations from our individual schools. We do have a couple members of the executive here, so I'd like to reluctantly call forward Sandra and Angela, or maybe just Sandra. Welcome, Sandra.
Congratulations, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to come up here. On behalf of Angela, President, I'm the past president, and it's always excellent to have the opportunity to bring homeschool to the board. As the liaison to the Hamilton Wentworth Council of Home Schools, we would like the opportunity to bring any of the concerns of our home and school associations that are at the schools to the board. It's a place our liaison would be responsible to ask any questions of home and school, what we provide in our schools, and what we can provide in our schools. The other thing is when our associations or our council bring questions to the table, we like to have a liaison to help us ferret out who we need to talk to and how to get the best results for our associations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Thank you for joining us. I'm looking for one trustee to be our liaison to the Council of Home and School Associations. Can I see interest from trustees? I put my hand up, Sandra. I've been the liaison for about 3 of the past 4 years, I believe. So I'd be more than happy to move forward again. See no further interest. Thank you. Next item on the list is our HWDSB Foundation. And actually, if possible, I will look to the director. John, can you just explain just briefly HWDSB Foundation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The previous board in the last term gave direction to staff to begin the process of strengthening the foundation. The board then hired leadership for that foundation, and in the process of creating that effective foundation, also following all bylaws and regulations, created a separate board to provide direction to the foundation. And that board now does not reside here, but certainly is very much connected to the vision and strategic directions of this board, and also has on it membership from this board. And so that's what this request is this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Director. And we do have room for 2 trustees on the committee. And the committee meets regularly, I think now, I'm told correctly, on a monthly basis or so. Thank you. So I'm looking for interest from 2 trustees. Trustees Danko and White. Perfect. Thank you very much. Our next item is D, the Ontario Public School Boards Association. As a school board, I believe there are, if I have it correct, 36 public school boards that belong to OPSPA, and that is our provincial advocacy group to the ministry, as well as when it comes to Parliament and other official representation, our voice. We as a board have the opportunity to appoint 1 director and 1 alternate to represent us at OPSPA, and we have votes accordingly through that individual as weighted by the size of our board. So I am looking for interest, and I'll ask first for the what we call the director, if I recall correctly. Interest in the director position, and then I'll call for interest in the alternate position. Do I have interest in the director position? Trustee Johnstone, thank you. Any further interest in the director position?
opportunity to be here tonight. As a relative newcomer to Hamilton, it's a great opportunity to match names with faces and to meet folks in my community. I also am pleased to say that we're looking forward to welcoming new trustees to our board. This is a wonderful opportunity to impact the lives of young children and their families. Not only do we provide a valuable service in terms of childcare, but also an opportunity to address the learning needs of our youngest seniors. So exciting time at our board. We're looking to embark on a 3-year strategic planning process and to revamp our own committees. So I look forward to welcoming trustees to the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. So we are looking for 2 trustees, and I think there's some pretty big shoes to fill. I think for many, many years it always has been Trustee Bishop and Orban. So we're looking for 2 more to take their place on Umbrella. Can I see that? Yeah, no pressure. Can I see a show of hands? Christine Dale, thank you. Another trustee, do we have interest from another trustee around the table? Do we have interest from another trustee at the table? Trustee Archer.
I'm interested in the sheet.
That's all right. You gotta start somewhere. Congratulations. Okay, so that fills 11E, so I'll kindly ask Heather to recap and then I'll ask for a motion.
So for the City School Board's Liaison Committee, it's trustees White, Hicks, and G. Hamilton Wentworth Home and School Association, trustee White. HWDSB Foundation, trustees Danko, White. Ontario Public School Boards Association, trustee Johnstone as the director, trustee White as the alternate. And the Umbrella Board of Family and Child Care Centers, trustees Bingham and Archer.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Trustee Hicks, seconded by trustee P. All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. We now move to item number 12, what we've all been waiting for, the speeches. Thank you for waiting very patiently, Pat, and I kindly ask that you come up to the mic and bring greetings on behalf of the Hamilton Wentworth Catholic District School Board.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I apologize for back to people in the audience, but I do want to take this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues at the Catholic Board to extend warm words of greetings and congratulations. And I want to begin by congratulating your predecessors, your director and others who planned and had this beautiful facility built. It's a really remarkable building and you deserve to be very proud of it. And secondly, I want to congratulate your director, Mr. Malloy. I've had the good fortune over the last 3 years of working with him on the Transportation Governance Committee, and I've seen his tireless commitment to publicly funded Catholic education at that table on numerous occasions, and I know he will serve all students well when he assumes his new responsibilities at the provincial level. So I just wanted to congratulate you on that, John. And of course, I want to congratulate you, Mr. Chair, and Vice Chair on your new positions. And I know you will do very well in them. And like I have with your predecessors, I look forward to working with you. Finally, and most especially, I want to congratulate all of the trustees of your board, particularly those that ran for the first time. I understand, like all of you, the challenges and the risk of putting your name forward, and I commend you for it. More today than ever, we need men and women dedicated to quality education in our province. And we have all kinds of forces speaking against locally elected governments of trustees, so I commend you on putting your name forward, on accepting the important responsibilities entrusted to you. The students in your system, and indeed our whole community, are the better for your sacrifice and your service. Finally, I pledge to you our board's absolute cooperation of working with you in a spirit of harmony. One of the great things of our province is the richness of the publicly funded systems of education we have, And I know that all of our children are better off for the systems. And again, we look forward to working with you and again, offer you our congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. And as per tradition, I believe I'll be seeing you tomorrow evening. Look forward to it. Thank you for joining us. Next, item 13, we'll move to the director's remarks. John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I too would like to offer my congratulations to all of our new trustees on your recent election and embarking on the beginning of your term. As I was reflecting on this evening, I reflected on the importance of school boards, and you take your place in history since school boards starting in 1816, when trustees became the first democratically elected representatives in Ontario. And that is such a significant piece of information, one that I wanted to bring forward today, because it speaks to the importance of the work that you do together. Over the next 4 years, as you've heard, you will have a very critical role to play in establishing the board's mission and vision, values and goals in climate. You'll devise policy, allocate resources, support students, and most importantly, be ambassadors for student achievement and well-being throughout our community. You will be setting the direction that will provide a high-quality education for every student to succeed in school as well as beyond and to reach their full potential. This evening, I also wanted to just take a moment to share with you, especially those who are new to our board table, the amazing staff that we have in the Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board who serve our students and our families each and every day. To the caretakers who ensure that the environment is ready for the kind of learning that's necessary. For the early childhood educators who partner with our teachers to be sure our youngest learners have what they need. For our office administrators who are the first face, greeting our community, our students every day. For our education assistants who take on all kinds of challenges to ensure that our students achieve. To our teachers, both those in permanent classrooms as well as our occasional teachers, who tirelessly ensure that they know each and every student. To our principals and vice principals who provide leadership, and what we say in Hamilton-Wentworth is the notion of conditions that make that learning possible. And also to all of the various staff in our Ed Center and who work in our service departments. And what we say to them each and every day is you are providing the fabric that supports the learning that happens in our classrooms. And the staff here in the Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board are second to none, and I wanted to share that this evening as you embark on your journey together. Our parents, our community, the partnering that happens is what makes the work possible. And again, we've heard tonight throughout the evening the various committees that exist and the kind of work that we do together with them, and again, something that's absolutely necessary. And as I close, I just want to share one reflection about the most important people that we all serve, our students. Throughout the last 5.5 years, I have had the absolute privilege of meeting often with our students. And what we've learned, and I know our student trustees can attest to this, is when we provide many different ways for our students to communicate with us and listen to what it is that they need in order for them to be successful, they don't always agree with the student voice, as you know, but it's a rich voice. It's a creative voice. And it's one that I believe has truly helped us and inspired us and allows us to provide for them what's necessary. Our students are the only reason that we're here, and I'm sure you all know that, or you wouldn't have put your name forward for this service. I hope you're inspired by that. I trust that you are. You play a very important and influential role. Our executive council, who's gathered here, is here to serve. Our executive council brings a myriad of expertise and will work tirelessly on your behalf. And I too would simply like to say that I am grateful to the Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board for the opportunity to serve here the last 5.5 years, and I wish you all the very best in the next years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director, for those kind words. It's my pleasure at this time to bring the chair's report for this evening, and there's certainly a lot to mention, but first and foremost, I would like to thank once again all the trustees around this table for your commitment to public education and to putting your name forward in the election and obviously being successful. Your hard work has definitely been demonstrated, and your work over the next 4 years by no stretch of the imagination will be anything but phenomenal, because as a board we have a lot of authority and influence to make really, really good things happen here at HWDSB. So I just want to say thank you to the trustees. Also, I want to say thank you to all of our members in the audience that have joined us today from numerous organizations from different levels of government, as well as our community partners, staff, principals, and everyone else. Thank you for coming. By the way, you are invited to all of our future board meetings, so I hope you come out in droves like you have this evening. It tends to get a little bit lonely as we move forward, but you're always more than welcome to join us. But moving forward, I've got a lot of questions from folks asking, what's changing at HWDSB? And to go over that list is quite cumbersome. In fact, what I would say to that person is, what isn't changing at HWDSB? We have a lot going on. And as we look around the table this evening, we look at just the faces of our Board of Trustees. We have 7 new trustees returning to the organization, or entering the organization, 4 trustees returning to the organization. But just briefly, I do want to recognize the strength that we do have around the table. We have Christine and Larry from the lower west side of our city. Christine, who's been very active on school councils and original education and spec ed, will bring a lot of strength to this board. Larry has been involved in his communities in the lower city for over 20 years, also experienced on school councils, as well as a coach of many sports teams. So we have a lot of strength coming from the lower city. On the mountain, we have Kathy and Dawn. And Kathy has certainly made her mark with Mountain Kids Club. So if you haven't heard about that, you definitely should, because if you're on the mountain, particularly the East Mountain, that's a staple for the community. So congratulations and thank you for bringing that to the table. And Dawn, a college professor and small business owner, is definitely going to bring a lot of advocacy and expertise to this Board of Trustees. So thank you, Dawn. And I'm sure you're still relaxing after walking for weeks on end during the election campaign, so congratulations. We also have Jeff from the Stony Creek area, who's also a small business owner, but definitely Jeff knows every corner of Stony Creek, so if you ever have a question about Stony Creek, ask Jeff. And also, if you're in the business or market for a new Christmas tree, I hear we might be able to get you one. Or 400 of them. So Jeff will certainly bring a lot of interesting expertise to the board. Congratulations, Jeff. And out in the west, we have Greg and Penny. Greg, who himself is also a small business owner, background in agriculture, as we've learned this evening, will bring new perspective to the board, as well as active community volunteer. So congratulations, Jeff, and welcome. And of course, we have Penny, who, what do I call you? Jeff? You're taking all the credit this evening. Jesus, that's Stony Creek influence. Greg, congratulations. And of course, Penny, similar to Kathy in terms of organizations in the Flamborough and Waterdown area, knowing Healthy Community, Healthy Youth Flamborough is a very important endeavor. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. And you stop by Waterdown District High School, and there's no doubt you know who Penny is, and you know of her volunteer activities in the community with recent grants through Trillium. So congratulations, Penny, who just squeaked by. Lucky number 11 is what we're going to play. We're going to get the jersey with number 11 on the back. And of course, we have our returning trustees, and I think it goes without saying the experience, the decades of experience that both Trustee Hicks and Trustee Mulholland bring to this table. It's an absolute wealth of knowledge, and as we go into our process of selecting a new director, their experience is going to be very valuable, and of course, in setting our strategic directions. Because myself, Trustee Johnstone, and I mentored 4 years ago, and prior to that, you did all of that heavy lifting. So we look forward to that, and of course, it's very notable to mention Trustee Johnstone, our new Vice Chair. Congratulations. Returning to the board in our Ancaster and everywhere else area of the board. And if you've been paying attention to anything at HWDSB over the past 4 years, you would know that Alex brings a lot of charisma and advocacy to our school board. So welcome back, Alex. And when you look through all of the individual trustees, there's immense strength around the table. But what we keep in mind, and you notice the common thread, is that we are all here for students. And we're here to improve student achievement, ensure equity, and to promote engagement. And looking around the table, there's absolutely no doubt that's what we have. Also, of course, not to forget our student trustees, who are now our elders, perhaps, who are going to teach us a couple things, seeing as they were the only ones guaranteed a spot back here. So I guess you can welcome us back, perhaps. But of course, the student voice around this table is always appreciated. But, and Pat mentioned this in some of his remarks regarding some of the challenges that school boards are facing. And as you open newspapers and read columns, boards of trustees, the position of school boards and individual trustees have been, it's been some tough dialogue. So, just picking up today's paper, I don't know if it was a coincidence or not, but there was a couple of letters to the editor and editorials, and I do want to read one quick thing that I read today that caught my eye. It was mentioned that most trustees become interfering busybodies with no real purpose in life, except to squabble amongst themselves and stick their noses into the daily operation of schools. So that's the observation that you read today in the paper. So it's nice. But what might surprise you in reading that is the writer makes a valid observation, and that sounds strange. But when you have a board, council, legislature that begins to self-destruct, we become ineffective on our own as individual trustees. And we begin to noodle around in the activities of the board, but we have no collective voice. So that is the result of what you may see with some boards across this province, and as a result of ineffective governance. But that is not HWDSB, and that is not the board that we have here today. Because effective boards are not measured by individuals. And we went over all of our individual strength around this table, and there's tons of it, we could go on forever. But we're measured by our collective strength around this table. And there's no doubt in my mind that we'll prove all of the cynics wrong. We are going to approach this board, and we're going to drive the agenda forward on behalf of students, our communities, staff, and parents. And as I've had a chance to collectively meet the trustees around the table, it's been fascinating because I've gone to the effort of making sure that I've sat down with everyone to understand exactly some of the strength that we have around the table. There have been collective themes, not individual interests, but collective themes that have begun to come forward. I've heard the importance of collaboration and the importance of openness. And when we speak to collaboration, that's the next step beyond engagement. And we know in this organization that engagement matters. That is one of our strategic directions. But what I'm hearing is that we want to take that further. We want collaboration. We want to collaborate with our students, hear the student voice. We currently have director student voice forums, but trustees, we want to hear that student voice. We want to engage our students, and we want to work with our students. With our staff, we're hearing from our union partners and staff groups that we want to become involved with the Board of Trustees. We want to have a voice at the table. We want to be part of that dialogue. And as trustees, I'm hearing that we want to also partake in those discussions and move forward. We're hearing from our parents. Just today, we have representatives from the Parent Involvement Committee, our home school, from SEAC and elsewhere that are joining us. And we know that the parent voice is incredibly powerful at HWDSB. So let's collaborate with that. Let's work with you and not present to you the plan that we've created, but rather bring the plan to you and let's create that together. And lastly, we must recognize our collaboration with our communities. We know that when we work together with our partners in our communities, we can in fact do better. And we look at plans in the last board, for instance, we go out to the Flamborough area and see what it looks like when a public library, a school board, and a city council can work together. And we know the importance of that dynamic. And I mentioned City Hall, and that's why it's so important to have seen Mayor Fred here this evening, and I thank Chris Cutler for staying around for the rest of the meeting. Thank you. And that's why it's so important to see Mayor Fred here. I don't know if others noticed, but last term, we were not fortunate to be joined by a mayor in our chambers whatsoever. So it's nice on day one to see our mayor here, as well as Councillor Johnson, who is not unfamiliar to this board. And your presence is always welcome, and you know that you can join us at any point. Thank you for coming. But that partnership with City Council is incredibly important. We know that in our communities, we have the education lens, and we have the students' interests in mind, and we know our schools. Our councilors, our community members have a lot to bring to the table, and that's a voice that we must ensure. The second theme, as I mentioned, is the concept of openness. And this is something that's not rooted in policy or strategic direction or a written rule that we can simply change at the governance level. Openness is defined by the channels in which we can get information. We can have that dialogue and discussions with our communities. So what I'm hearing from our current Board of Trustees is that we're looking to break down those walls that divide us and connect with our communities. And those open channels of communication start right here with the Board of Trustees. We lead by example. So we can bicker amongst ourselves and, what does this article say, squabble amongst themselves and stick their noses in the daily operations of schools. We could do that. Or we could work together and strengthen our voice to bring this organization forward. And there's no doubt in my mind that we can. So as leaders, we will lead by example, starting here in the boardroom, and that will filter right down to our executive council, right through our board offices, to our schools, to our communities. We are open at this board, and we do say to our students, there are no stupid questions. We say that, ask questions, we encourage that. We do not hold our communities or our stakeholders or value partners to any other level. We want to have that dialogue, there are no stupid questions, and we want to engage with you. So in summary, it is my pleasure to say that I'm very excited that with our inauguration this evening, we are opening the doors to a new HWDSB, which is why we must make it known that HWDSB is ready to listen, we are ready to learn, and make no mistake, this Board of Trustees is ready to lead. Thank you. So before we call adjournment, I have a couple of public service announcements. Number one, trustees and exec council, we have water bottle gifts in these white boxes around the table. Open them, use them, bring them to your board meetings, because we want to use something that is reusable versus wasting the plastic and water bottles that we are so passionately against, as rooted in policy too. Yeah. And also to trustees, you have name badges on your desks that have been provided. You can wear those with pride in your schools, in your communities, Winona Gardens, whatever you want, you know. And that's basically it. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. There are some refreshments out in the hallway. We ask that you join us and stay around for some of that discussion we've been talking about. And once again, we hope you have a safe